What's going on, guys? So in this video, we're going to go over our weekly group sourcing call through third-party profits, kind of breaking down the different methods of sourcing, reviewing Keepa graphs, making sure that we're kind of analyzing products the best way that we can to increase profits in our business, to make better buying decisions, and to ultimately reduce mistakes. So in this video, I want to kind of go over using the scanner and the stalker, a little bit of a combination of both. So what I like to do to find a seller store, traditionally, it's sourcing through the scanner and getting an idea of who's on these listings. So we're just going to set some generic filters, profit per sale filters, margin filters, like how we usually do. A rank filter, so let's go between 1 to 200,000. Let's do an offer count that's greater than 4. Let's do an Amazon in stock percentages that's less than 60. And let's do a profit per sale that's greater than $2 for the past year. And then let's also do latest buy box is greater than 5 to try to reduce any items that don't have a buy box populating. So now that we set some filters, let's start going through the motion here. So I like to organize the products by lowest profit to highest, so I can start sourcing products that are more relative to the margins that I can expect on Amazon. So should I stay away from KeHE? Should I use KeHE? Because I know that often we use a supplier like KeHE. I might try to drift away from them for this video. And maybe we'll go with like a supplier like Genie Beauty. So Genie Beauty, if we open up this got to be product, 528 is our cost. This product here, it's selling at $54. Second. All right, so $4. However, there isn't a current buy box offer, FBA offer on the listing. So that's a little bit of my concern right now. If I look over the course of the past all time though, I'm going to see that maybe that's a little bit different, right? So back here, there was some FBA offers. It looks like it kind of decreased from in 2024, and there was FBA offers back here, but there really hasn't been any on the buy box. So if I go and I look up got to be just for curiosity, is there a consistent theme that there isn't FBA offers on these product listings? So I see other variations of got to be that are populating. So if I just start branching off on these product listings, just to see what's out here on Amazon to get an idea. So we have a Keepa graph here that's pretty good. Looks like it's selling very fast. Offer counts, healthy product. The only thing is that the price point's pretty low. So it's selling at $7, $6.68. And before cost of goods is at $3.23. Now, this isn't necessarily going to be an item that I want to source as like a profitable product for my business. What I'm really going to be looking for here is just trying to see if I have access to this product and then trying to pick off any potential sellers on this listing to use for the stalker. So ultra glued, got to be. We're looking for the 1.25 ounce. So we'll hover over these titles, 1.25 ounce. Got to be. This is the 3-pack, but that's all right. Invincible styling gel, ultra glued, perfect. All right, so now that we got the product UPC here of that correct product, I'm just going to quickly search it just so I'm only looking at that item. My lowest unit cost on this product is $21.84. Can't be, right? Because their cost is $21.84. The only way that math would make sense, the case pack is the pack of 24, right? So that'd be 91 cents. That math would make sense. So if we open up the case pack, we'll turn on that filter here. Case pack is 24. My estimate was correct. So now that I recognize that was wrong, I would want to look deeper into the file to see if there's any other products where the unit of measure is incorrect, where essentially they're giving you the case price and you aren't dividing it by the case pack to get to the net unit cost. So our cost on this product is 91 cents. This item at 91 cents times 2 is actually profitable for any expenses. It actually sells really, really well, and it's most likely profitable because people are kind of overlooking this potential thing. I mean, it's a very low profit sale. This is probably an item that for me, I would honestly recommend to stay away from just because there's little to no margin for error. I mean, it sells well. I understand why people are selling it. You could sell this, 600 times, but for me, I'm probably just going to pass on a product like this. But what this is telling me is that I'm onto something, right? Like the first item that we looked at here, even though we're not making money on this product, we found an item that's we are making money before expenses, but we found an item that sells very, very well and profitable before discounts. So that is a huge, huge, huge green flag. So all these sellers on this listing, I want to take a deeper dive into. So before we even open up these other listings, because most likely if I find one product or one brands of items that are profitable, I want to take a deeper dive. And I also see a few hands raised here. So before I continue to go, I just wanted to get to those hands. So let's see, where is the queue? Open queue, here it is. Yes.
Hey, Paul, mind if I say something real quick?
Of course.
Yeah, I've been having the same problem. Like when I go to the third-party profit app and I check the prices, like when I see the prices on the third-party app, it'll be different from their website.
What supplier? Is it KeHE, for an example? Or
No,
someone
it's
else?
the Bilo, the beauty distributor. I think the same one you was looking at.
Gotcha. So it depends on the file, because if you're feeding the wrong information to the software, then it's not going to pick up on the right costs. So what I mean by this, for an example, like if I go to Bilo Beauty's website and we'll pull up their file as an example, just to kind of show and walk through the things that I'm looking for, is that every single supplier's file is a little bit different in terms of, green flags and red flags that you might have to take additional steps on. So I'm just going to open up this file real quick, and then that way we can see here. All right. So I just pulled in their file. So for an example, it's going to say unit of measure. So EA stands for each. But if I go from Z to A, there's most likely going to be other ones as well. We have DL and each, right? So like in this specific scenario, like we know that our cost for always tampons are not $30 a tampon. Or Arm & Hammer deodorant, it doesn't cost $16 for one deodorant. So like immediately that right there, we know that there is an issue with the file and the pricing, and that's why there's a discrepancy. And we also want to make sure that when we're uploading it in, that we're using the discount price. So for an example, right here, the item price is $30.78, but they have a discount price of $15.39. That's 50% off. So
I see what you mean now. Makes sense.
So if you're uploading like this item price into the software, then you're feeding it the wrong information where it's not going to match it on the website essentially.
Right. So whatever's on that file right there is going to match the prices on the website, or it's going to be different?
No, it should match it on the website. And if not, then I'd recommend to reach out to the sales rep from whatever supplier it is to see why there's a discrepancy in pricing, why the file that you're getting is different from the pricing on the website. Because it for us personally, when we take a file from a vendor, if they send us a file, it should be all correlated to what we're going to be buying the products for, regardless of a website or if we're analyzing the products through the spreadsheet.
That's actually the problem I'm having. It's like it's the same distributor too. When I go to the website, the prices will be different from the file. That's what really got me confused. I even tried to text them for the, what's good, brother? I tried to text them for the new file, but they say it's the one they have on the website.
Yeah, so like this right here, you just want to take it by the quantity per unit of measure, and then boom. Now all the pricing, I have unit pricing for all these products here rather than case pricing. So
Right. You're probably right. I have to check the file that I had. I probably fed the wrong file to the app.
yeah, well, then this would be all good to then upload in. And then this is all per piece pricing now, and it'll be all good. So that's just something I recommend to make as a suggestion, honestly, regardless of like using the software or not, just like as a mentor and a coach to people, is just like you want to make sure that you're always looking at an Excel file. You're looking at the data before uploading it into any software, because most likely there's going to be some type of, I don't want to say discrepancy, but there's some things in files that you want to look for. Like I said, the unit of measure, UOM, is something that it's either going to be spelled out as unit of measure or it's going to be like this, UOM. So if you see a column like this, you just want to make sure that if they have any abbreviations, then the unit of measure is how they're billing you, essentially. So
Right, you got it.
all right, so like I said, so we found this product here where it's profitable before expenses. Now, the reason why that's a key thing and why I'm mentioning that is because since we're making money before expenses, what that tells me is that there would be room for opportunity with a vendor like this, that most likely there's other products in their catalog that could be profitable, because an item that's 4,000 in beauty, which is a great rank, that sells almost 3,000 times a month, we take a look at the Keepa graph, we can see how consistent this sells and how fast it sells. And then also, this competition, this price is also decreased. And we see that this price actually does trickle up. So at 760, you could be making 225, 30% margin on a product that weighs, a quarter of a pound that would cost maybe 10, 15 cents to ship into Amazon plus any prep. So and this says 4K plus bought in the past month. So this product's ripping. So this would be an item that I would want to save to my folder, even consider maybe adding it to my purchase order and just revisit it and just see if the math might make sense later on, because this product sells really, really well. And most likely, if we look at this data on the buy box statistics, and we look over the course of the past 90 days, what I'm going to be looking for here is going to be essentially an average price, or even if we go for the past year. So do you guys see something that that I would be looking at on the data tab that's here right now that would make me consider looking at this product further in depth?
Honestly, I would look at the price that it mostly dropped to, which is 650.
644, okay.
And the percentages on the one buy box is over 50. I usually don't look at it no more, because if they got 50% of the buy box, they're probably taking all the sales.
100%. But on this specific data tab, does anyone see any data that is potentially a good sign?
There's a lot of sellers where it's been selling. Yes.
That's absolutely a sign. Yes, for sure. Hello? Was that someone that was chiming in? I heard someone say something, but I'm not sure.
It's probably my background, because I'm in the store right now. So.
Gotcha. Anyone else want to chime in on their thoughts? Yes, Kevin.
I'm not sure if I heard the other answer correctly, but are you saying based on this looks like an FBA friendly ASIN?
Yes, it absolutely is, because of the buy box distribution. So we can see that there's a lot of third-party sellers that are selling this product, which is a good sign. Absolutely. But there's one key sign that I want to see if anyone's going to pick up. So there's
Is it the in stock of those sellers? I see one person has about 1,000. It makes it seem like they're a wholesaler.
So in this specific scenario, I'm actually not looking at the stock.
Okay.
Right now, the date range that I have is for the past 365. Now, the reason why and the data that I'm looking at in this specific scenario is going to be the average price, right? Because what I'm trying to get a gauge of is that if we look at this product, by looking at this product, what is something that you guys see for a Keepa graph like this?
It doesn't seem to be fluctuating very much, no?
Not fluctuating that much. It's selling consistently fast on this listing, right? The product consistently sells. That's the key. So what I'm looking at here is, now that I went over the average price for the past year, now I want to take a look at this win percentage to get an idea of, out of 100%, what percentage of sellers are selling it at the range of this 760, 750? Because if we look at the data, obviously prior to expenses, everyone's business is a little bit different, prior to discounts as well, that this item has a very solid margin. Very solid ROI, right? So if I can get a percentage of how often over the course of a year this product is selling at that price point, I'm going to have a lot clearer idea of how good this product actually could be for my business. So right here, we have 14% at 750. We know that anything greater than 730, 725 is a good percentage to be at in terms of if we were to sell that product, right? So we have 14%. I'm just going to do some math here. We have 3%, 755, 2%, 747, 2%, 734, and then essentially call it another 4% for all of the bottom ones. Okay, so 60% of this listing on average over the course of a year, competitors, your competitors on third-party listings that are selling well are selling at the price point where you could be making a 30% gross margin on the product. Now, the reason why that's important is because now that we understand that 60% of the year, that product actually is a pretty solid profitable product for our business, potentially. If we go back to the Keepa graph, what is the one thing that we just mentioned just a few seconds ago about this product? Price is stable and it sells consistently well. So if we can capture even 3, 4, 5 months out of the year on this item at this 750, right? Theoretically saying if we can capture 10, 15% of this listing over the course of a year, then now what we're looking at is 4,000 plus bought in the past month. This is saying 3,000. So let's go with 3,500 times 12 is 42,000 units that this product sells. Am I confusing anyone with the math that I'm currently doing on how I'm getting to this number before I continue?
Yes. Can you tell me that?
Sure. So the data that I'm looking at here is over the course of the past year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the monthly estimated sales and essentially multiply it by the year as well. So I can get a better idea of how much I can capture on an annual basis, essentially, for this product. So over the course of a year, this product sells anywhere between 40 to 45,000 units. So if I can capture this item at 45,000 units times 10%, that's 4,500 sales that I will make over the course of a year. Whether I sell 100 units in 1 month and 1,000 units in another month, over the course of a year, based on the data that's here, I have the possibility to capture 3,000 to 5,000 units, let's just say. Right now, our average gross profit on this item is $2.25 before any expenses. This one item, capturing 10%, will make us 10 grand in profit a year, potentially, right? By just looking at the bigger picture of the product based on the data that's here. There's other sellers on this listing that are selling it at that price point that is a profitable margin for our business. Like I said, depending on your expenses, and that's why I'm kind of mentioning that. But this is the way to start thinking about your business, is that it's easy to look at a product and say, all right, well, this product is not profitable right now. So there's no reason to buy it. And I'm not saying that this is a product you should buy right now. But my point is that this is the way that we want to look at the data on Amazon. Is that everything is everyone kind of following what I'm saying, or is anyone confused on what I'm saying? Because I want to make sure that this is something that you guys are picking up, because this is really, really important, to be honest. And I see that there's a few hands as well. So
when I've been looking at the buy box statistics, I guess because being a newbie, I'm also looking at the sellers, FBA sellers with high review counts and ratings, because doesn't that make a difference about capturing the buy box besides the pricing?
It does, but honestly, what dictates buy box capture more than anything is performance and sales history on a listing and quantity that's available. So like might have 100,000 reviews, but if they only stock 12 units on a product consistently that sells 300 times a month, like if you were Amazon, would you want to reward that seller?
Sure.
No, right? Because they're not supplying the demand for the product that's there. So is there some items that, yes, there's harder to get some buy box rotation on products that have larger seller reviews? Absolutely. But really the key is looking at whether or not sellers are able to, that are smaller, capturing some of the buy box share. And if they are, what size reviews are they? Also, what is their price point and their review percentage? So like this guy here, like he has 81 reviews, but his rating percentage is 59%. Like that's terrible. You know what I mean? Like this is someone I wouldn't even look at as someone that'd be like a competitor, in my personal opinion, or like this Beauty Forever, excuse me. This isn't someone I look at as a competitor either. They have 73% as a review, even 200 reviews. Someone that'd be like a competitor would be this SBS Global, 98%, 113 reviews. Like that's someone that I would say would be a solid seller on the marketplace. So we're going to continue moving on from this product. Now let's take a look at some seller stores here. So New England Express, pop them open. Okay, so based on what's here, does anyone see what type of seller this looks like? Anyone want to chime in? Arbitrage, exactly. So I have no interest in looking at the seller store. First choice online, let's see, 321 results. They're selling like Versace cologne, which I would personally always recommend to stay away from. Selling a lot of this brand that looks like that's a product that we can't sell just based on the Keepa graph. This is another seller that I'm just not too big of a fan of. TriVision Health. Okay, so we see some potential matches here for some products. Now, so what I'm doing, I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm just kind of scrolling here. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to pick up on some of the products, right? So like Salon Pro, Echo Style, Crazy Glue, Arm & Hammer, OxyClean, Dove, Pond's, right? So now if I go into the software, I just want to search these brands. So I know whether or not this is a seller that I want to kind of look at and stalk. So Pond's, awesome, we have access to. They're selling that. Let's go with more of a niche brand. So Camille Rose. Okay, so no results there. Style. Let's see again. All right, so far looks like the software made some matches here. If we remove is not empty, pretty much just telling the software I want to get rid of anything that's blank. We'll set some profit per sale metrics. Margin. We'll also do a sales rank, offer count. Let's also do greater than 3, and then profit per sale for the last 365, greater than 2. And I'm not going to take off Amazon and stock percentages because if they're selling the product to me, that means that we should take a look at it and see if there's any opportunity here. All right. And then I'm just going to hit update product costs as well. Okay. So now that we kind of went through that motion of attaching the seller store, there has been some product opportunities that have populated. And this seller has how many products? 338 results. And after filtering down, there is probably 40 products that there's a match on. So pretty solid in terms of the leads that now we can go through. Now I do see that there's some products here that the pack sizes aren't changed. So we're just going to kind of go through that, make sure that everything still makes sense after. This is a 6-pack, make that adjustment. VO5, pack of 4. Okay, unprofitable. Open up this listing. Head and Shoulders, 4-pack. All right, so this product still is profitable, 240. Let's take a look. Keepa graph looks super consistent. Sales are also there, 700 plus bought. You know, lower profit per sale, but like, you know, it's 0.54 in terms of weight. It's a low, it's not that heavy of a product. So 35 cents per pound, you're looking at 19 cents. You know, if you're using a prep center, then most likely this is probably a product to be a little bit challenging to sell. But like this is an item that's selling pretty well, even with the variation listing. And it can fluctuate, but this pricing is super consistent. You know, it's been selling at this $8, $8.20 range. Personally, for me, I try to stay away from lower ticket products just because, you know, you got to sell a lot of inventory to make a lot of money just because of how low the profit per sale is, even though the margin and the ROI is high. I mean, but this item sells well. You know, so 800 sales a month times, let's say, you know, that would be right in my wheelhouse in terms of a type of product I want to sell. You know, my goal is to just try to focus on products so you make $100 a month in net profit after all expenses, and just try to stack 30, 50, 100, 200 products like that. And it might sound like a lot, but in reality, I mean, we just got to look at other people's storefronts. Like this guy has 338 results, you know, so if the products that he's selling are good items that are making, call it, you know, $150 a month or even $75 in profit a month. He's making $18,000 a month in profit from his storefront right here. So, I mean, he's got a solid business. You know, it's a pretty solid business. So this is an item that we definitely want to add to the PL for sure. If you guys have been enjoying the video so far and you're not yet a third-party profits user, click the link down below to start a free trial today. And then there's other suppliers that also carry it at a lower cost, 54 cents. So in reality, our profit per sale is going to be higher. So it's 24% profit margin. But does anyone got any questions?
Yes, I have a quick question. Is the prep fee already calculated into the margins, or that's something we're doing at the end?
So that depends on how you have the software set up. And I'll kind of walk through that once I just submit this in. So we're just going to do 540 units here, $153 in profit. So inside of the sourcing itself, you can set up your preferences to include a shipping cost and an ASIN cost prep estimate for the products. Now, when you physically save a product, like how we just saved it, the way that we're accounting for the prep expenses are based on what you actually have set. So within your prep expenses on the software, you have glass, bubble bag, sticker, etc. Now, the reason why that they're itemized compared to in here, that is like an average, is because every single product is different with prep. You know, what might cost you $1 for a glass product for this type of product where it's selling as like a 4-pack travel sized Head and Shoulders. You know, this is a relatively small item. It's a lot easier to prep. So it's not going to cost the same. So once you save that item and you attach it to prep type, then it deducts any prep and any shipping that you have set in the software.
Okay.
So we'll continue to kind of go through this motion. Here's another product, 3-pack Arm & Hammer carpet, 403. We have another supplier here that carries it at 366. So that's the pricing that we're actually going to use on this item. Now, this product does not have any current features that are offered on the listing. It looks like the buy box disappeared. Now, this product was selling at $16.88 and our cost was $366. However, does anyone see an issue with this product potentially? No buy box, yes. But anything besides the buy box in terms of profitability of the products?
Monthly sold. Looking at
The monthly sold. Yeah, so the monthly sold dropped. Anything else?
the ranking is going higher.
Not yes, but there's something else here in terms of profitability.
Oh, profit. I'm sorry.
Profitability of the product. All those things are correct though.
Right. I think, is it the buy cost? You
So
said 366, but that's a 3-pack, right?
I think
Correct.
Amazon started buying into it. That's why the price is dropping.
yes, Amazon's starting to come on this listing as well. But there's one main thing. So real quick, we'll go back to the cost. So this cost does not include anything else. So we'll start with that. So if we go back to this product, is there anything that you guys see that could be potentially an issue with an item like this?
It's not the weight, right? Because it's 6 pounds.
Exactly. The weight.
The weight,
Yep. So since it weighs 6 pounds, it's going to cost more to ship it in, right? So if we do an average cost of, let's say 30 cents per pound, which I would say is, you know, pretty solid. 30 cents per pound times 6 pounds, you're looking at $1.80. So if we just add $1.80 into this equation here, you know, you're looking at a 4% profit margin before any other expenses. So really quickly, that just depleted that margin on this product. Now you might be saying, well, how are other sellers selling this, right? Like, how are they making money on a product like this? Well, their shipping costs are low. You know, their shipping costs might be 10, 20 cents per pound, and they're willing to sell a product that's $2,000 in health and household at a 10% gross margin, you know, and net 5%. Like they that might be their, you know, their type of model on a product like this. But that's kind of what I saw on this item immediately is that, okay, I saw a $2.50 profit on a product that sells well, even though the rank went away and stuff like that, or the buy box went away, but it weighs a lot. So that's going to obviously intrude on some profitability. This 2-pack here, make that pack size adjustment. All right, let's see this product. Another got-to-be item. This is 42 cents, and our unit cost here is $1.54. Okay, now it's selling at $9. $1.54 times 3 gets us to $4.62. These got-to-be products, they sell well. They sell well. That's unfortunate. But does anyone see something that so far what we've looked at on all of these product leads that I've mentioned previously on other calls for those that join in pretty often in terms of margins and profitability with the leads that we've looked at?
They all sell good. They got a good margin. Like, it makes a lot of sense to me since I already run grocery stores. Only part I be having that's hard is like finding the exact product that definitely make me some money. I don't know. I just haven't got there yet. I probably got to get on a one-on-one call with you.
Yeah. So, you know, the biggest thing that I'm seeing right now with the products that we're sourcing is we really haven't looked at an item that was like unprofitable, right? And by unprofitable, I mean by like negative 2%, negative 5%, negative 10%. Like, we're looking at items that are selling well, right? Like this Arm & Hammer, you're talking about a product that is $3,000 in health and household. Like, that is a super, super competitive product. Even though it's not profitable because of the shipping that we had, what I'm trying to say with you guys is that this type of supplier is a green flag in terms of pricing, because we're seeing products that are coming up that even though their margins are a little bit low, the pricing that we have right now at the end of the day is the worst pricing that you're ever going to see from them. That's just the reality and the truth. So if you're seeing, a 5, 7, 10% margin, I mean, there's some items before expenses that we were just looking at that are 20% profit margins. That's a good sign, right? That's a good sign that there's other products from this supplier that you could be diving deeper into and seeing if you can capitalize on any of those opportunities. Like, this is a great Keepa graph. Like, seriously, if who's ever selling a product like this, like they're making a good amount of money from this item if they're getting it for the right price. So, all right, next thing we got Old Spice. It's unprofitable. Okay, so it doesn't look like there is as many matches as I thought. Seller store. So let's go back to this got to be. Oops, where was that product? This one. Because this was a good Keepa graph. First choice online. I think that was a seller that we looked at previously. Yeah, it was. 321 results. All right, so they do carry ponds. They sell Dove. Right, they no longer have Dove. Maybe it's got to be like this. No, Butter Arm and Hammer. Right, so what I'm doing right now is I'm searching this seller's store to just kind of see what brands and products that they're selling, to maybe see if we can pull in this seller's store, because we just went through that one seller store. So I'm going to pull out this other one that we were just looking at, this Vision Health, and let's pull in this new one here and see if we can pick off any listing. So literally just going through that one seller store, I mean, we're able to find a profitable product. There was a few others that maybe had some potential, but we kind of just moved on from them. Let's see. Okay. All right. So we're just going through, we're setting some filters here. Okay. So it looks like there's a decent amount of connections here now with this seller based on the suppliers that we have in the system. So like this was a good seller to kind of go through. And there's a lot of product opportunities here. So does anyone have any questions on kind of what we just did right there to make sure that everything makes sense? Cool. All right. So let's start sourcing through. So we got a pack of 2 here for this item. Products unprofitable. This is selling as a, what is that? 12 pack, I believe. Profitable. Term E, $3 in profit, $13.66. Let's take a look at this product. All right, Amazon's on the listing. Does look like there's other third-party sellers that were selling the product. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on a product like this. Chime in. Anyone chime in? What is your first initial reaction to seeing a Keepa graph like this?
Amazon is on the pricing has not tanked, but it has dropped, right? The monthly sales and the seller rank. Not the seller rank, but how many sellers have been consistently been dropping, right? Slowly. And the BSR rank has been increasing slowly. So some supply and demand issues there, maybe.
I think it's a good product because the more that sellers is running out of the product and it's dropping on those sellers, the price is going back up. So the less sellers on there, the price is going up. It's probably a good product.
Anyone else?
The pricing is
Is it the monthly sales?
But the
Monthly sales are dropping. Yeah. So Kevin, when you look at this Keepa graph, what are you saying in your head? Is this an item that you would want to pass?
Just based off of the data and looking at the amount of sales, I would think that's a no without looking at anything else.
Okay. Now let's see how much it's been selling. So real
I'll
quick.
probably wait on it.
It's been selling 700 times a month. It dropped from 2,000 to 700. So it's been about, what is that? A 30% decrease, 70%, 30% decrease. Wait, no, it's 70%. No, I never mind. I'm sorry. I've been up since 5:30 in the morning. I'm tired. But my point is that there's been a decrease in the monthly solds, but the biggest sign for me is we could see that with the previous data, Amazon's been on this listing and sellers have been on this product, right? Like we can see that FBA sellers have been offering this item years and years with Amazon on the listing. So the biggest thing that I want to take a look at right now that I didn't hear anyone mention is going to be that third-party sellers were selling it at $28 with our cost of $13.66. We're making money. But we look back at the data, Amazon's coming back on this listing. They're priced at $24.37. And we can see with previous data that third-party sellers were selling this product, but they had to sell it at $19, even $17. So now the question is, now that Amazon's back on this product, would we have to sell it at $17 again? And at $17, we're losing $3. 18% margin,
Amazon
right?
drops the price.
Exactly. So now that we know that Amazon's coming back on the listing, because that's why the price was selling at $28. Now that Amazon's back on the listing, for us as sellers, if we price the same as Amazon, we're probably not going to make sales. We're going to have to price under Amazon to make sales. So, and we can see that Amazon was changing their price as sellers were changing their price. So what that says is that we can, like I said, we can estimate to potentially sell this product back down at this price again, you know, in between $19 to $17. And then if we look at the most recent data, we're going to see that, you know, sellers, Amazon dropped down to 19, seller right here, like for example, dropped down to 21, 21, 24. So I have a feeling that this data is going to repeat itself, because that's typically what happens on Amazon. So does anyone have any questions on kind of what I just went over right there? Because I want to make sure that everyone's is all good with that kind of the data points that we just covered.
Paul, could you just summarize? I think it went too fast.
Sure. Yeah. So the summary of this chart is we need to look at the previous data with Amazon being on the listing to see where third-party sellers were offering the product to get the buy box. So it's easy to look at the product here and say, well, it's profitable right now. No Amazon's on the listing. Amazon came back on. It's going to force sellers to drop their price to sell the product. And we can see that third-party sellers were winning the buy box over Amazon, but they had to sell it at $19. And then now that you know that data point, now you want to reference whether or not you'd be profitable. And if yes or no, how much are you losing, right? Are you losing money? Are you breaking even? Are you still making money? That way you understand the risk that's involved with buying a product like this. And now that we've reviewed the data here, this would not be an item that I would want to buy, simply based on what's happening in the landscape of the marketplace right now, that I have a feeling that it's going to repeat itself. And I don't want to lose money on a product like that.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Like, so sellers are winning over Amazon, right? And the sellers are losing money because of the price is tanking.
So it's not that the price is tanking. It's just that, so like back here, let's just remove this here. Back here, we look at this data point. We can see that Amazon was on this listing, but where was third-party sellers priced at?
Around $20 range, right? Like between 15 to 20, right? 17, 18.
Exactly. Where's Amazon's price?
The same as the third-party seller. Oh, okay.
What I'm trying to say is what Amazon's telling us as sellers, that third-party sellers needs to be priced at this much lower of a price to win the buy box over Amazon.
Oh shit! Oh.
Right. And for us, if Amazon's winning the buy box, we're not going to make any sales.
Yeah. Okay. Now it makes, basically, if we want to win, we must price at $19, right? To compete with Amazon has the advantages of being.
Yep. Exactly. Dollars. We're not profitable. We're losing money.
Okay.
All right. So before even looking at the profitability of the product, what are you guys seeing here as an indication on this Keepa graph? Do you guys not like this Keepa graph? John says no. All right. I'm sorry. You guys both talked at the same.
Oh, you can talk first. You can. Sorry. My mistake, brother.
No, I was letting you talk as well, but I apologize. I'm just looking at 2 months ago, the price being, dropping, not really consistent with the previous months, I would say.
Yep. Yeah. It dropped by 15-20%. Yep. And Top G, what were you going to say?
Amazon is not on the listing, right? That's a green flag. And the pricing is steady. But the seller count has dropped, right? The bottom of the, like, no, 9 sellers. But it does not have any third-party sellers, right? Does it have?
It has third-party sellers on the listing. All the triangles here.
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. But what's the problem then?
I'm not saying that there's any problem.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kind of trying to see where your headspaces are with a listing like this. If you're looking at this Keepa graph and then saying, well, I'm just going to move on because it doesn't really look like the best Keepa graph. If it's a product, we're like, okay, well,
the graph is like 100K. Maybe it's like a slow moving item, but it has steady pricing, right? And there are sellers on the listing. There are some sales there, right? So maybe look at the sellers, right? Data buy box, what portion of how the buy box portion is.
So all right. So
Bad chart though.
Say that again. With you, I don't think
It's dropping up and down, but it's not dropping that much if you're making a good margin off of it.
Yes.
Paul, did you check for like a year? Not a year, but like 2 years ago. We can like see if there has been any IP complaints or like a
Well-
big seller just tanking.
Yeah, there's been no indication on this listing ever of any IP, which is a good thing. So like, I agree. I don't think that this Keepa graph is that bad. I would say really the biggest downside of this product is that it's a low ticket product, right?
Yep.
So like
Yeah.
it sells at, let's say, $7.99. So at $7.99, our cost is $346. All of a sudden the product doesn't make sense, right? Even at $8.75, there's really no margin here. There's no profit to be made. I don't even care about the 16%. Now the price does go up to $9.99.
That'll be
And then-
better.
$258, right? But this is the scenario for me where it's like, okay, well, the product at the highest price at $9.99, we're making a 25% margin. At the lowest price, it's a 10% margin. Now, the issue for me with the product like this is how much are you gonna sell, right? Like at the ceiling of the product, meaning over the course of the past year, the highest price it sold for, the profit is $260 per sale. And at the lowest price, it's called a dime, right? Let's just call it a dime. There's a lot of products out there on Amazon that you can be selling at $2 to $3 in profit per sale that sell faster. Not saying that this is a bad item for someone's business, depending on where they are, but I would personally say that for the majority of sellers, this would be a product that you would maybe just want to save and then come back to in the future if you were, even considering buying it. Even if we ask for a 5% discount on a product like this, we're getting a 2% increase in margin. Now, the margins are important, but what matters more are dollars, right? Like you can make 100% of $1,000 a month, and sure, the 100% sounds awesome, but I don't think the majority of people can live on $1,000 a month. Or you can make 10% of 100K or 10% of 500K, and then all at the end of the day, it comes down to the dollars. Like that's what we pay ourselves with. That's how much money we can put into our physical pocket to grow the life that we want. So in this type of scenario, the margins are good, but the profit per sale is not really better than any other product you can find on Amazon. So it's just like, just kind of move on from a product like this. This next product here, 281, low ticket, again, 21% profit margin, 215 a sale. It looks like it's glass. It's a variation listing. Keepa graph is pretty consistent. It also does look like the offer count has gone down, which is not a bad thing. Pricing is really, really consistent. And it looks like it sells around 50 times a month, right? So around 950. 170, 18% margin. Are you guys passing it? Are you buying it? If you're passing it, why are you passing it? If you're buying it, why are you buying it? You would pass, okay? John says he's going to pass. You want to?
Not too many sales, right? To get it, it's a low ticket, right? So if it's low, it should be like a fast moving. It's not even fast moving, right? So I don't know, what's the point then, right? To buy, right?
Yeah, I agree with everyone that said that it's an item that you'd want to pass. It's low ticket. It doesn't sell well. It's not that profitable. There's nothing good about it. Like, honestly.
The main seller, the only seller, looks like.
Green bulk. It was the seller. Was that? Oh, were you saying the brand was the only seller? Or
Yeah, it seems like it was just like the brand was the only seller. Or, I couldn't tell who was the seller. It just shows one seller on FBA and 0 on FBM. So I just assumed that
Gotcha.
it was the brand. But nonetheless, it's still only one seller.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like this is an item that I think everyone that said I want to pass, I agree with, and I think that was the right decision for sure. Let's take a look at this item here. This is a 4-pack, right? 6% margin, pass on that. Derma E, 904, 13%, 233. This says $2,300 a month in profit. So this product must sell pretty well. All right, it does look like the brand's on the listing. Now there are other third-party sellers. It also does look like Amazon's coming on, which is, for me, a red flag. Going back to where we just kind of were discussing, right? I immediately look back at this period of timing back here where Amazon was selling it at $15. They came back on at $17.20. Most likely this price is going to drop back down, and the brand's on the listing, so we're just going to pass. Explore Cuisine, $588, $2 in profit, $208 a month. This item, I have a feeling that we're going to pass as well, but we're going to take a look and let's just see. So it's a variation listing. It looks like the offer count has recently spiked, right? Immediately, that's the first thing that I see is that it literally almost doubled. And then if we take a look at this product here and we do some deep dive on the data at $14 and our cost is $5.88, it's $4 in profit per sale. Product sells around 100 times a month. Anyone's thoughts and opinions?
That's not a bad margin. $4 a product of a unit.
Yeah, but the issue is that we got to sell it up here though.
Oh, no, that's not good. I was looking at that. I had a customer.
No worries.
And there was one more thing I wanted to ask you, Paul, because I got a little busy and I seen it in the end. You could add sellers to the third-party profit app.
Yep, that's what we're doing right now. Seller store right now.
Wow. I didn't even know that. It's because I really got into the app before I even got to your program. Like I skipped a couple of steps before I even started.
Yeah. And yeah, so in this, you can integrate competitor storefronts. Like that's literally who we have right now, like this seller store called Green Bulk. And we're just like, these are all products that the software made a match for. That now we're just sourcing through to see if there's any opportunity for us to pick up any of these products.
That is nice. I didn't even know that. So if you have the supplier that has that product to show up where you're seeing it right now.
So your suppliers need to be integrated into the software.
Yeah.
But yes, if you target a seller, like that's kind of what we were doing is we were looking through a seller storefront to see if there's overlapping brands that we have access to. So we get an idea if we're targeting the right seller. And then once we did, then I put that seller storefront into the tool, and then the software found matches if there was any for that specific seller.
And this software is a steal, man. This is a hack. That's fire. I'm still at the step where I'm finding wholesale because I was doing Amazon 2 years ago, but I was doing FBM and it was just too much. Now I'm trying to do FBA, still trying to contact as much suppliers as I could. I'm getting some declining, but I ain't giving up yet.
For sure. 100%, man. Just getting started.
I apologize. I think most of them is declining me because when you go to my Amazon storefront, like right now at this moment, I'm not selling nothing but one book that I found in Ollie's and I just took it to make a couple of dollars, which is, just on my way walking out. But I have really nothing on the list. So when you look at my storefront, it's like I'm fresh.
Why don't you just pitch to the distributors since you have a brick and mortar, right?
Yeah, I do.
Are you, when you're on the phone, are you leading with your brick and mortar or?
Like the wholesalers that I buy my products from, I know them personally, but the only problem I be having is when I go to them, it's like 70% of them don't have websites or sheets, or they just have all type of products. You got to walk in there and look for the products that you're looking for, scan everything through.
Like, I was going to say they're like cash and carries.
Yes. They're just like, I've tried, but I've contacted some of them and asked them if I was to find the exact product and send it to them, if they'd be able to get it. Most of them have said if we could reach the supplier, then we'll get it for you.
Yeah. I mean, what I would do though is like the distributors you're calling. I mean, if you have access, I would lead with that. Like, I wouldn't lie and say that you don't sell on Amazon, but I would say, hey, my name is Paul from XYZ, like your store brick and mortar name. And that's what I would lead with and say, hey, we're looking to open up more wholesale accounts. We currently buy from XYZ distributors. We're looking to expand our brick and mortar locations as well as we do sell online. And that's how it entered every single conversation. And the second that you say brick and mortar, I mean, these companies are going to be like, okay, yeah, I'll send over a credit application, so that's something that you want to lean on because that's an advantage that you have over a lot of people in this room. So
I've actually done it with one supplier. He told me he will be able to open me an account with my brick and mortar, but the LLCs is two different. I got two different LLCs under different names. So it will be a problem getting ungated because that's my biggest issue right now too, getting ungated.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I would still say though that you have a brick and mortar. If they ask you, I would say yes, you have a brick and mortar because you do. You're not lying about that.
I actually got three: one in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and one in Rochester, and one in the Bronx in New York.
Yeah, like that. That's you should say that on the phone. Say, yeah, we're looking on. I'm just gonna role play a conversation with you. What I would do is if you call a distributor, hey, my name is Paul from XYZ company. I'm looking to open up a wholesale account. Wait for them to respond. They're going to either say, yeah, like, what do you do? What is your business model? Or, fill out the credit application on our website, or maybe they say something else, right? But if they come back and they say, what do you do? That's when you say, well, we have 3 different brick and mortars. We have one that's located in the Bronx, and one located in New Orleans. I believe that's what you said.
Yeah, Louisiana, so it's close to New Orleans.
And then I would say, we're looking to continue to expand our retail storefronts as well as we do sell online. I would put more or less I would put the online at the end, right? Like lead with the brick and mortar and say we sell through our brick and mortar storefronts. and we also sell online. And then if they say, well, yeah, like right now, like we're not opening up any e-commerce businesses or anything like that, I would just say, listen, we completely understand why at this moment you're considering not opening up new brick and mortar, or I'm sorry, wholesale accounts with businesses that do e-commerce. What we've seen in our personal stores is actually, since e-commerce has came into the mix, since COVID, we've seen a decline in sales. And for us, it's either that we continue to adapt and pivot and grow our business, or we might shut down our brick and mortar locations. Like, you don't need to go to that extent, but like the reality is, at the end of the day, like e-commerce has changed retail, traditional retail. I mean, we see it all the time with certain stores, like Toys R Us, for an example, or At Home, or like these stores that get wiped out from e-commerce businesses. So if you position it as a way of saying, we understand that you don't want to accept e-commerce businesses, but like, we've had to pivot to e-commerce. If we're not selling online, we're falling behind. Like, and I think any reasonable person hears that type of conversation and says, you know what, like, valid. That makes sense. You know what I mean?
It's true too. I've had like clothing stores next to me of people that I knew that ended up closing because they told me before they even closed. They said right now everything is starting to be online. 5 years from right now, we're going to end up closing everything. And it really happened. So it does make sense.
Yeah, 100%, and like I said, for them, if they are like, yeah, like still no e-commerce, like at that point, I wouldn't even want to really do business with them, because what you're saying is valid. Like, there's nothing in that equation for me that's a lie. That is all truth, facts. Like, every single year we continue to see, like, for example, CVS, Walgreens, they're shutting down hundreds of stores a year. We're talking about businesses that have been around since 1900s, that are, a lot of them are closing stores.
That is true.
Yeah, so that's gonna wrap up the call for today. But before we end the call, does anyone have any last questions or anything you guys wanted to kind of go over to make sure that we walk away from this call feeling pretty good, feeling pretty confident?
And Paul, just so I have like not a question, but it's more like regarding my situation. I talked to you yesterday, right, in the chat.
Yes.
And I did not cancel my TTP. I lost my wallet in the fire, right? So I'm basically waiting on my bank card now, both of my cards, so I can renew my subscription, getting back on tracks, basically.
Were you able to sign back up with the link that I gave you, or were you struggling with that link or anything?
No. The link works, right? But I need the bank. I had not shut down, but I had to switch over, right? So the card I got lost in the fire because I had little fire, if you remember.
Yes, that was crazy. I saw you put something in our Discord. That was absolutely nuts.
Yeah, so while I was like shutting down the fire, right, I lost my wallet in there, right? So I'm getting my card hopefully this week so I can get back on TTP. I love TTP. I haven't canceled. Okay.
I wanted to make sure I saw your name pop up as a cancellation. Now I was like, Top G, he canceled? I wonder, like, I wonder what happened. But
no. Give me a couple of days till the card's back, and I will jump on it. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man. And if anyone has any questions, as always, just let me know. Shoot me a text, shoot me a DM. Any questions you guys might have, and then I'll see you guys next week. So, everyone, take care. Have a great night, and thank you for your time. And enjoy the rest of your week, and let's crush it. Let's hit all of our goals. So, take care, everyone. Have a good one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you haven't yet signed up for Third-Party Profits, click the link down below to start your 10-day free trial. My team will also onboard you into the system. Hope to see you guys inside and increase your margins and your profits for your Amazon wholesale business. See you in the next video.